Hello, and welcome to episode number 142 of the Lines Podcast. My name is Matt Brown, joined by me this week, solo pod. Lucky you, Brett. Got a lot of stuff going on here, new things happening over at the Lines. Of course, Brad will join me and Brett as usual on Friday for the entire NFL breakdown. But here on Wednesday, just me, just Matt. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at MattBrownM2, and we'll try to have some fun. We'll try to make some money. Let's start things out here in the weirdest week in NFL that I can remember in quite some time because of everything that went on. I mean, listen, we are talking about a game. By the time you listen to this, by the time it's hitting your ears, there might be an NFL game in the books on a Wednesday, a random non-holiday Wednesday that is going on in the afternoon between the Steelers and the Ravens. This game has been moved a few different times now. This line has gone crazy. This was, at one point, it was Steelers -3. Now, that's if you would have gotten it on the opener. With all the COVID news that went down with the Ravens, the moving of the game, all the stuff, the players are going to be in, the players are going to be out. This thing went to 4, this thing went to 5.5, then it got pulled off the board, then it got reposted, then it got pulled off the board again. Anyway, it's going to end up going off at 10.5 right now. So, again, in the weirdest of years, we talk about, I think that we've tried to stress enough on this as to why I'm taking a different approach to betting this year, because whenever you take a look at how, this season has played out, we never know when these COVID things are going to hit. We never know if the games are going to get played or postponed or canceled or whatever might happen with things. And, a lot of times people will talk to you about closing line value and we got to get in early and get the best number. But in a year like this, I don't know if that does you any favors. What if you got in on the Ravens, at +3 on the opener or +4, like a little bit after that, because you thought that it was going to go back the other way? Now you're sitting here with a team that's going to have RG3 at quarterback and neither Dobbins nor Ingram at running back and a couple of other guys that are out, due to COVID. And you're sitting in it with a ticket at +3 and it's +10.5. You can't even buy off your position, So, in a year like this, I think closing line value, highly, highly overrated. I would much rather have the information. I'd much rather have the news. I'd much rather know who's playing quarterback for the team that I'm going to be betting on than to try to get on a number at the opener. The year of COVID, man, is changing the way we do things, changing the way things are going, changing the way that we are, that we're betting and the way that our betting strategies go. And this being one of them. Like typically I'd always tell you, be sure and get the absolute best number on a game. But then the COVID, you never know. RG3 instead of Lamar Jackson, no Mark Andrews, no Mark Ingram, no J.K. Dobbins. The list goes on and on. There's a ton of guys that aren't going to play for the Ravens. So just something to think about as we move forward into the season. Maybe sometimes getting in early is not the best idea. And I think in 2020, that's probably the best. I think that's probably some pretty good advice that I could give you. Week 13, though, we are having a week with incredibly huge spreads. Incredibly huge spreads here in week 13. So when we look down the board, the Vikings are 9.5 point favorites over the Jaguars. 10 points in one place. Raiders, 7.5 or 8 point favorites on the road at the Jets. Dolphins, 11.5 point favorites over the Bengals. The Dolphins. We have the Seahawks as 10 point favorites over the Giants. We have the Packers as 9.5 point favorites over the Eagles. We have the Chiefs as 13.5, 14 point favorites over the Broncos. Steelers and the football team. Steelers, 9.5 point favorites over the football team. Ravens and Cowboys. Ravens, a touchdown favorite over the Cowboys. All of those games, a touchdown or bigger. Titans are 5.5. I mean, 5.5 or 6. There's even one place that has a 6 posted right now. Didn't quite meet the touchdown favorite threshold, but man, tons of huge spreads in the NFL this week. Tons of different ways we're going to have to try and figure out how to play this week. Is it an underdog week? Are we going to play a bunch of teasers? You're playing money line parlays just to go ahead and try and eliminate some of the craziness of the 2020 season. We'll talk about all that on the Friday pod, but just wanted to give you a heads up on how this week is kind of shaping up. Just massive, massive spreads all the way across the NFL. There's only 2 games inside of a field goal as we sit right now. The Patriots and Chargers are sitting at either a pick or the Patriots or the Chargers favored by 1. There's a couple of books have the Chargers favored by 1. One book has the Patriots favored by 1, and one book has a pick 'em. And then we have the Bills and 49ers, which is under a field goal right now. The Bills are favored on the road at 2.5. Of course, that game will be taking place in Arizona. So very, very interesting week of NFL games. Huge spreads. How are we going to play it? Do the better teams get it done? Or can these dogs keep it within double digits? The other thing is that's moved into what we could call a pretty big number is this. If you head over and click on, the player futures market, and whenever you take a look, or the awards, however it's listed on the sportsbook that you're looking at, DraftKings is listed as awards. And Patrick Mahomes, if you remember, there was a time where we were sitting here and it looked like okay, this MVP award. Huge favorite was Russell Wilson. We were saying, look, maybe it's a little early. Maybe we should pump the brakes on Russell Wilson. Couple of different reasons. One, he was having to do things early in the season that was just unsustainable. He was having to put on his little Superman cape and go out there every week and throw for, 350 plus to make up for this poor defense of his. And it's just unsustainable. And the other thing was, by the way, there's still these other guys in this league named Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes and Ben Roethlisberger, who was working on a perfect season at the time. And Kyler Murray was more in the discussion than he is now. And we were saying, listen, laying money, minus money on Russell Wilson for the MVP? No way. Well, that, of course, has changed drastically now. Patrick Mahomes sits at minus 400. Minus 400 on Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP. Aaron Rodgers, you can get him at plus 650 over at FanDuel. Russell Wilson's plus 650 as well. Everybody else 20-1 or longer. That's Ben Roethlisberger at 20-1. The problem with Ben, and what if he goes undefeated, right? But his counting stats and his numbers are going to be nowhere in the ballpark, like nowhere in the vicinity of what Mahomes and Rodgers and Wilson have done. And people are going to look and they're going to justify not giving it to Roethlisberger, and probably rightfully so, by saying, yeah, good season, not great season. And that defense is really what made this team undefeated. And there's truth to all that. So it's really a race between Mahomes and Rodgers and Wilson right now. Plus 650 on Rodgers, plus 650 on Wilson. Mahomes at minus 400. If I had to bet this today, I would bet this. I'm not going to. If I had to bet one of those 3 guys, I'd bet Aaron Rodgers at plus 650. He is playing as well as anyone in the league. You could argue that he's playing as well as Mahomes is. And, what if Patrick Mahomes has a slip up, one bad game? It's a weird year. It's COVID year. What if he gets contact? What if he didn't even get COVID? What if he just gets contact traced and has to miss a game? So laying 400 on Mahomes, not wise in the year 2020. I don't know if there's any way to, I don't know if there's any other way you want to play this. Aaron Rodgers at plus 650 would be the only way I would go about it. Coach of the year, I think, also is a 2-man race between Tomlin and Flores. Of course, Tomlin coaching the team that is currently undefeated. Maybe by the time you hear this, maybe they have lost. That'd be a shocker if they lost as 10 and a half point favorites on Wednesday afternoon football. And then Brian Flores coaching this Miami Dolphins team up to where they are right now is sitting at plus 350 for coach of the year. Tomlin's plus 115. I think it's a two-man race. So I would not be betting that in any other way. With the injury to Joe Burrow, it is Justin Herbert's NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year to lose. Cannot imagine this going to anybody else at this point. He has put up the body of work that's needed. I think even at this point, if he didn't play another game, he's put up the body of work needed to win that award. So that's pretty much locked up. Comeback Player of the Year now is locked up with Alex Smith coming back. No reason to bet that market. I know it's somewhat tempting, bet Ben Roethlisberger, and you're like, yeah, well, what if they go undefeated? Look, these things are voted on by human beings, and human beings know the story of Alex Smith. People who are going to be voting on this know the story of Alex Smith. They wanted to lop his friggin' leg off, for crying out loud. Like, cut his leg off of his body where he would have one leg. And he is sitting here playing in NFL games, playing pretty well in NFL games in 2020. Comeback Player of the Year is locked up as well. I think the only award there's still some kind of drama around is Defensive Player of the Year. Look, there are two favorites in Donald and Watt, and they're both sitting at plus 220 right now at FanDuel. Myles Garrett is lingering, and I understand he had to miss a game because of COVID, and that sucks. But he's at 7-1. Myles Garrett has put together as good a season, if not better, than Aaron Donald and TJ Watt both have. He just had to miss. Is there a way in the world where people will look and say, okay, yeah, he had to miss a game, let's prorate that or something, and we could give this to Myles Garrett, who's been the most dominant defensive player. Now, listen, there's still, we still have games to be played here. So it's not a done deal, but I think there is at least a little drama in that one. And of course, look, between Donald and Watt, they're sitting at the exact same odds right now. So Donald, Watt, and then a little bit of an outside chance at Garrett. I favor Watt right now. Of course, anchoring the best defense in the league, maybe anchoring a team that goes undefeated or comes close to it. That narrative is strong. That narrative is pretty good for these voters. But Myles Garrett has definitely been a dude that's been wreaking havoc every time he's out on the field. That defense was different last week without him out there. No doubt about it. Let's look to the college market, and we head over to college football and kind of update how things are going there. Listen, we've started out with the playoff standings. I'm sure you've been paying attention to that. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame are the four teams that are in right now. It would take a miracle for Alabama not to be in no matter what. They are 4 touchdown favorites against LSU this week. And even if they were to lose in the SEC championship game, in theory to a Florida, they're still going to get in. Clemson pretty much punched their ticket already. Ohio State is really the question mark here, because we're talking about could so many games get canceled for Ohio State that they don't have enough games to actually get on the chart here to be able to get in the championship. And that's the problem. But it looks like everything's going to work out. It almost looks as if the 4 teams are set right now. Could Florida climb in over an Ohio State or Notre Dame should they beat Alabama in the SEC championship game? That is the question you have to ask yourself. How are these people going to do it? Because if that's the case, you can get Florida at 12-1 to win the national championship. And that is, listen, we talk about this a lot. All you have to do is get in the tournament. And once you get in the tournament, weird things can happen. Anything can go down. You can get Florida at 16-1 to win the national championship over at FanDuel. So that's where you'd want to go, actually, not at DraftKings. FanDuel, 16-1. And this is just a play on, can they get in the tournament? Because once they get in the tournament, crazy things can happen. But outside of that, Bama's plus 125. plus 135 at FanDuel. Clemson's 2-1 at FanDuel, 2.5-1 at DraftKings. Ohio State plus 550 at DraftKings. They are plus 450 over at FanDuel. And if you're an Ohio State believer, I mean, Notre Dame believer, this is where you definitely want to be sure that you have multiple accounts and stuff. Notre Dame to win it all, 6-1 at DraftKings, 9-1 over at FanDuel. So we preach this all the time, but of course, go to thelines.com, go to the top of the page. There's a little tab up there that says U.S. sports betting. Click on your state. And when you click on your state, you're going to get the very best sign-up bonuses to all the books. Look, either free money, free bets, risk-free bets, deposit bonuses, deposit match, all the things like that. So just take advantage of it. It's the only time the books are going to give you free stuff. So take advantage of it while you can. Also, you can see the discrepancy in the lines and stuff like that. That's why we always preach about having multiple accounts. So be sure and do that. College basketball is underway. If you have not been paying attention, we do have college basketball. If you have not really, I mean, look, there's a lot going on in the world right now. If you're wondering who is supposed to be good, your favorite to win the college basketball championship, Gonzaga at 6-1. Villanova is 7-1. Baylor, 8-1. Iowa, 8-1. Illinois, 9-1. Kentucky, 9-1. Virginia, 9-1. And then you have Kansas at 11, Wisconsin at 12, and Duke at 13. Michigan State at 15. Everybody else is 20-1 or longer. So you can see a bunch of teams jumbled up right there. No clear-cut leader, no even higher, no really even clear-cut tier. We're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different teams that are 15-1 or shorter. And in this weird year, again, guys, we just got going with college basketball. We've had games postponed already. We've had some games canceled. We understand how this is working. We're watching it play out in college football. We've watched it play out a little bit in the NFL, but we're watching it play out in college football. I would not bet any of these short shots. Strictly because you don't want to be holding a ticket for what you consider to be the best team and then something go haywire within their team or within their conference or within their league as far as this COVID stuff. So for me, I'm holding, seriously, I'm holding 15-1 or longer tickets if I want to have futures in my account when it comes to college basketball. And that's going to be about it. There's no way I'm taking any of these short shots. The weirdest of years. We're playing football on a Wednesday afternoon, for crying out loud. No way in the world I'm taking any of those. So just, again, a piece of advice as to how to treat this year and this year in particular. Weirdness is going to happen in college basketball. I can promise you it is going to happen. We're not out of the woods yet. I know there's vaccines on the way, but we're not out of the woods yet. And so some team's going to have an outbreak. Some star player is going to have to sit out for 2 weeks. Some sort of something is going to happen. So just don't be holding a 6-1 ticket or a 7-1 ticket, and then that happened to your team. Just my opinion on how to go about this. And finally, here on a short little solo pod this week, let's look at the NBA, because the NBA odds are now out. We're going to have NBA here in about 20 days. And I don't know if you saw the NBA Christmas Day schedule. Let me tell you, I mean, it is fantastic. It leaked yesterday by Woj. Of course, Woj always going to have the inside track on things. But we are going to start at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific in the morning. Pacific. Christmas morning, 9 a.m. basketball, baby. Pelicans and Heat at noon Eastern. Of course, Zion, year 2 of Zion. Heat coming off that finals run. Going to be a fun one. Followed by the Warriors and Bucks at 2:30 Eastern. Yes, the Warriors and the Bucks. A little less sexy than it was with Klay not being able to play for the Warriors this year. but the Warriors are still going to be good. Followed by the Nets and the Celtics at 5 Eastern. Yes, the new look Nets that is going to have Kyrie Irving, that is going to have Kevin Durant going up against one of their East rivals in the Celtics. Well, one of their Eastern Conference foes that is going to be going up against them when it comes down to, when it's all said and done about who comes out of that conference. So Kyrie, we get to see Kyrie and Durant on Christmas Day. Let's not stop there. 8 o'clock Eastern, Mavericks and Lakers. Luka and the new look Mavs. Well, not new look, but definitely improved Mavericks. Team getting a bunch of buzz. Could they be the team? Could they possibly make a run at the Western Conference? And of course, the Lakers, the defending champion. And all their new pieces and everything that's going on with them. And then round things out. It's going to be a late one for you on the East Coast out there. Hopefully you're drinking your eggnog. Sounds disgusting, by the way. But whiskey, whatever it might be. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Clippers and Nuggets. So we get to see the Clippers, of course, team that is, again, is right up there as far as favorites. And then the Nuggets, who we saw make a hell of a run last year as well. So amazing schedule on Christmas Day for the NBA. But you can bet this right now if you want to. Futures market, Lakers 3-1, Clippers 5.5-1, Bucks 5.5-1, Nets 6-1. Everyone else 13-1 or longer. You could look at the numbers over at FanDuel. You're not even getting 3-1 on the Lakers at FanDuel. Plus 270. Bucks 5.5-1, Nets 6-1, Clippers 6.5-1. That's it. And that is it. Everybody else from that point on, Celtics 16-1, Heat 20-1, Nuggets 21-1, Mavericks 22-1. So it just gets long after that. But you can go and bet this stuff. Of course, the MVP market is up as well. Giannis and Luka are your co-favorites. Giannis plus 440, Luka plus 440. Anthony Davis plus 750, Steph Curry plus 750. Durant 12-1, LeBron 12-1, Harden 15-1. Here's the thing about this, and where I was saying it's a little bit, this is a different scenario when we're talking about futures over on the NBA side of things than in college basketball. In college basketball, it's usually one superstar on a team. And if that guy is not on that team, and if he has to sit out, then it can just wreak havoc and the team could just go in the tank. But listen, a team like the Lakers is so incredibly deep that they could lose one of their stars in a 72-game season and still be perfectly fine. Now, the one thing you could do on this with the Lakers, and this strategy is probably how I would go about it, is hope they start off slow. Maybe there's a championship hangover. Maybe we've even heard that there might be some load management stuff going on with some of the players early in the season, namely LeBron James, namely Anthony Davis. So what if they start off first 6 games of the year, 2-4 or 3-3? That'd be a dream scenario for us because these odds are dynamic and they change all the time. Then the Lakers are going to get way better than 3-1. You're probably going to get 4-1. You probably might get 4.5-1. God forbid they start off 1-5 or something like that. You're going to be able to get 6-1, 7-1. So as far as NBA futures for me, I'm just going to wait, hope that one of these shorter teams starts out a little bit rough and then jump in on them. One of the other things that is interesting that is listed over at DraftKings right now, and this is something to pay attention to as you are making your bets over there if you're playing the futures market. So we know that wins is always a thing. Over under wins is a thing that we always bet. Well, DraftKings, understanding the weirdness of this season, understanding how this could all play out, has decided to take a different approach. And it's not games won. It is team win percentage. So if a game happens to get canceled or moved or postponed or whatever it might be, or, the season gets cut short a little bit or whatever it might be, again, team win percentage over at DraftKings this year as opposed to team wins. So when you look at these numbers, don't freak out whenever you're looking and you're going like, what do you mean the Charlotte Hornets over under 36.5? Like you're trying to tell me, no. That is not what they're trying to tell you. It is a win percentage, not 36.5 wins, win percentage. So be sure and note that whenever you go and you look at these things, because you're going to be pounding the unders on some of these. And that's not what it is. It's not games. It's win percentage. It is not 36.5 games for the Hornets. It's 36.5% win percentage. So keep that in mind whenever you head over there and take a look at that. Guys, as always, we are going to be back on Friday, me, Brad, and Brett, breaking down the full slate of NFL games. It's going to be a very interesting conversation for all of us because with so many big spreads, are these superior teams going to be able to cover these giant numbers? Or are we going to be playing a bunch of these double-digit dogs, holding our nose and praying they can get some sort of backdoor cover for us, can come in late, however it might be? So be sure and pay attention with that. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at MattBrownM2. And of course, head over to the lines and take advantage of all of the written content over there, all of the sportsbook offers. Listen, very few opportunities to get free money from these sportsbooks. And that's one of them. So be sure and take advantage. We have the very best ones that you can get over there on thelines.com. You can follow our YouTube page. It's under our sister site at PlayPicks. So it's youtube.com/PlayPicks. And be sure and follow our YouTube page over there as well. All right, guys, talk to you on Friday, breaking down the NFL Week 13 slate.